What have I gotten myself into? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going over a bit of a passion project or new project that I've been working on. Before we begin, for anyone who may be a Blender professional or have any experience in the program at all, I'll apologize in advance, as this is only the third model I've ever done in this program. So I'm sure you'll see all sorts of different errors as we go along today. For the rest of you who aren't familiar with Blender, this is what this model started out as, just a plane. And here's where we are now. Today's the beginning of an introduction to a new project of sorts. I have a build in mind, and that build needed a body, but I wanted something a little different from what's out there already, what's easily accessible. I've already done a Blazer build with the RC 4-wheel drive Blazer, so I wanted something a little different. I've settled on what's known in the truck world as an OBS Chevy pickup, or the old body style. The problem is, no one makes those in a hard body that we could get our hands on and even do any kind of modifications to, so I have to start from scratch. I'm definitely no expert in styrene building, so that's where 3D modeling and 3D printing come into play. This is a newish program for me, Blender. Like I mentioned before, I have a little experience in this. I followed one tutorial about 4 or 5 years ago and didn't actually complete it, and actually moved on to modeling the body for the mini son of a digger that I did a while back, if you could remember that. So this is a whole new territory for me. Hence why when you're seeing this now, the body has mostly been modeled. Many of you probably wouldn't want to see me go through and figuring out this mesh. We'll get to that a little later. This has been a long process. What you see here is probably a good 15 to 20 hours worth of work, especially when we get towards the bed back here. But the main goal is to have a 3D printable body, even if I have to print it in sections, that I can then go ahead and do body work on or modify to my liking for the build that I have planned. Starting off, if anyone is familiar with Blender, we got some reference images, some blueprints online, line those up on the views correctly, and got to modeling to scale. Figuring out body lines and learning how to navigate and massage this mesh to get smooth surfaces has been a challenge. This is a little different from the RC world, but it's been a really fun challenge at that. This is where I mentioned that some of the more professionals or experienced Blender users might start cringing or have some comments. What I do know about Blender is this mesh, what we see here, the different grid points, all of these vertices create our mesh, and that creates our model. And we want this to be as uniform as possible. The term that I've seen thrown around a lot is topology, I believe. The more uniform your mesh is, the smoother your model will come out, which is why we want to see a lot of straight lines like such on the hood, and not so much these crazy lines here on the fender. This may need a little work. This was early in the modeling process. Where I'm at now, and what we'll work on a little in this video while I'm talking about it, is the bed. The bed may look a little funny right now, but I actually went through and got so detailed as to modeling all of the relief panels and dimpled panels in the bed. We're going with wheel wells that will be printed in place but can be removed, as well as the bed floor, which is what currently needs a little work. It took me a long time to figure out how to put the ribs in this bed. There's so many lines that have to go through in to model this. It took me a good while and many lines to figure out how to do these ridges in the bed. But you can see when we go ahead and hide those vertices and that mesh, smooth out the faces, that the program actually smooths out these ridges a little too much. We want them to look more like these ridges on the back panel of the bed. So to do that, I'm learning what all of these pink lines mean and how to go about adjusting them to make them look correct. To start off, we're gonna select this first one here, the entire line to the back, And I'm gonna come to edge and mark it sharp. Now this doesn't make it exactly what we want. I've learned I had to change this mean crease level here. Just from what I've done so far, I'm gonna start with 0.9 and we'll come back and look at this, and that looks, you can see this one's a little more pronounced now. Going ahead and doing a couple more. And we can start to see how these ridges are a little more pronounced. They're actually showing up a little more on the edges than these ones on the end. We'll actually do a little bit more once I get these last couple finished off. Now with all of those edges marked, we can see we have a little more definition on those bad ridges, but if we come and look at a reference image, we can see that the bottom of the ridges also has a bit of a seam to it. And here, it's not too defined. So now we have to go back and do the same thing to each one of these lines, the bottom part of the ridge. We're gonna start probably with 0.9 again, just to see where it's at. We may have to adjust those. And now these first two, yeah, that looks a lot better. We can see some definition in these lines now. We can see a start and a stop. Could maybe even go a little further on the bottom one, but I have a whole lot of marking of edges to do here. But we're gonna go ahead and work through those very slowly, and we'll see how that looks when we're finished. So let's see. I don't know about you, but as someone who's looked at this model for a solid 15 or so hours now, that looks a good bit better. We can see some real definition in those ridges in the bed there. I probably went a little overboard in detailing the bed here, especially if I may or may not cut it up, but I wanted a nice model to start off with. We still have a lot left to model. We need tail lights, we need headlights, hell, we even need a grille, front bumper. That's all the interesting stuff that I'm not 100% sure exactly how I want to go about modeling yet. My idea or hope, I think, is to have kind of an interchangeable front grille, similar to the way the RC four-wheel drive Blazer is. So I'm not sure if I should model that in with this now and then can cut it apart and split it on the lines where it should be split, and then go ahead and add in those mounting points. That's all stuff that I need to learn a little bit more about Blender. You can see I actually have the hood kind of roughed out already, but I really need to figure out how to split the hood, because ideally I'd like the hood to open on this build as well. That's where I'm hoping maybe one of you guys can chime in. If you have any experience with Blender, if you've modeled an RC body in Blender before, if you could let me know down in the comments a couple of tips, tricks, things you might have learned along the way, or point me towards any resources that could help me to be successful in printing and modeling, I guess, my very first body. And you know what? If you want to laugh at me in the comments as well at how kind of off this model is, you're more than welcome to. This has been a completely new learning experience for me. It's been pretty fun, but I'm interested to see what you guys think. I know this is a little bit different than my normal RC videos. We're branching out a little bit here, but I wanted to fill you guys in on something that I've been working on, and don't worry, this will be RC. So this will fit the theme in the long run. I have a lot of plans for this if things work out the way I'm hoping they do. Let me know what you think of the progress so far on this Chevy OBS body, and leave a like if you want to see more videos in the 3D modeling in Blender and also Fusion 360. As much as I love RC, the 3D modeling and engineering in general is something that I really enjoy. So I'd love to continue making some videos on it if you guys enjoy them. So definitely leave those likes and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Until then, as always, thanks again for watching. Peace.